Right, hello. I thought I would show you a little video on how to match up an acapella with its original track. Because sometimes these things are a bit easier if you just show it in a video instead of trying to type out step-by-step instructions. Right, so what I'm going to do is I've got the source tracks for a mashup I made a very long time ago, probably coming close to 20 years ago. That's sad. It's Eminem without me, mashed up with some this track, because why not, right? So what I've got is it's a video here. I think I downloaded this off YouTube, which is, well, was YouTube around back then? I don't know where I got that from, but it's the video in MP4 format, and yeah, we're just going to drag that into Acid. Yeah. And that sounds a little bit like this. Right. It's a great track just to show you how it works, because it's like the beat is so easy to spot. Other tracks are not so simple, and I guess that's kind of why you're having the problem. Because especially when you put the vocals in, they don't often match up. Right, now and then we've got an acapella of the lyrics as a separate track, and I'm not going to use the beat mapper just at the minute, so we will cancel that. Right, and if we listen to this,
Two Trailer Park Girls,
it starts at a different part of the track, right? So this starts at the two Trailer Park Girls. So let's find that bit in the track. Right. So there. Right. And the easiest way is to just drag this, but obviously you've got a grid enabled. I think it's by default. So that kind of scuppers your ability to completely match it up. Right. So obviously you can turn the grid off, but I don't know why you would do that unless you really wanted to get some fine tune editing. But the other way is if you just drag this kind of close and then hold the Alt key, and you'll see your cursor will change to kind of like a clip with some arrows in it. And if you drag on the clip, you don't change the start and end position, but you just change the offset for that within the clip. And that's kind of, it looks like that's kind of right. Just eyeing it.
Two Trailer Park Girls go round the outside.
Right, so that's the simplest way. Now I suspect this is going to drift a little bit just looking at the audio.
I'm on the way.
I bet if I skip towards the end of the track, it's probably...
This must mean I'm disgusting.
That seems all right. So, I mean, that's it. Really, that's the simplest way. Now, that's matched, and you can do your editing as you want. Now, that doesn't really work if you want to use like the beats within this track, because we haven't actually beat matched anything. We've just kind of lined them up, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to run the beat mapper on the original track. I guess actually what I'm just showing here is that these two tracks do match. They are the same speed. Sometimes when you get an acapella, it might be at a different speed, or maybe your source track might be off vinyl and it might, warble and not run at a consistent speed. But in this instance, it's pretty good, right? Probably isn't perfect, but it's good enough. So if you've got issues where your tracks aren't the same speed, then this isn't necessarily going to help. But I'll show you some tricks later where you can fix some of that in the beat mapper, not in the wizard, but in the beat mapper. Right, but first we are going to go into the beat mapper. So we're going to select our source track. We're going to go to clip properties. I've already got it open here. We're going to change this to beat mapped. We're going to go to the stretch tab, and then we're going to run the beat mapper wizard. Right, so now on this step here, on step 2, you don't need to be perfect, so don't worry too much about that. it's in step 3 where you do need to be. Why can I not move that? It's weird. This is where you do need to be a lot more perfect, and we can immediately see. It's weird. I can't move that. Normally, this is what I do. I just skip kind of like halfway through, and then kind of towards the end, just to get it perfect. Zoom in, and we can see that's pretty close. Now, if you look at other tutorials online about beat mapping in other DAWs, they often say, like, if it's a modern song, it's probably got a really like rounded BPM, like 112, something like that. So just stick with 112, like round it down. And don't ever do that. That seems like if you've got the option to have a precise BPM, like ignore numbers. You care more about what it sounds like by ear. So if you didn't know, if you zoom in, it's a bit more precise. What I will say is if you go right to the end of the track and it's a long track, you'll notice this, it doesn't actually scroll very precisely. That's because of it's a long track, and these numbers, we've only got 3 points of accuracy there, so that'd be why. But close enough. You can correct, as I'm going to show you later. You can correct if this isn't precise enough. I'll show you how you can correct it afterwards. Right, so we're going to change the project tempo to match the beatmap track, and those other options as well. That's fine. So we'll notice this is going to change to 112.245. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into this clip properties. We're going to select this to beat mapped, and we are going to set it. Well, it's already done it. So, but there you go. That should now be matched. We now just have to line the track up again, and that'll be it. It probably was lined up already, actually. Maybe not. It wasn't. Of course, it wasn't, because I've beat matched the top track to the start, like the downbeat. Right, so we're going to have to do this again, just with the Alt key, align it. Oh, wait, I forgot that wrong. Yeah.
Two trailer park girls go round the outside, round the outside.
Right, okay, so that's it. It's not super difficult, but it does take a bit of tweaking. And now you can change your project to be whatever speed you want. So if you wanted a super fast,
Two trailer park girls go round the outside.
All right, you can do that. Now, if when you come to put in your other track for your mix, obviously there's the benefit of not just Acid, but any other DAW. So we're going to beat match this. This one, you can see this one is wobbling about a bit, but kind of, it's the beauty of actual live music, I suppose. It does towards the end of the project, it does match up again, so they are keeping pretty good time. Now, when we just drop that in over the top, mute the original track.
Two trailer park girls go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside.
We have our mashup, right? Nice and simple. All right, let's have a look at how to fix some like beat drifting. So select your clip that's got the drift in it. Now you could manually do this on the timeline if you wanted. So we could come in here and we can see this beat isn't quite landing on the measure correctly. You can come in here and split it, and then use the Alt key again to just realign it. You could do that, but the issue you have there is if you've got lots of adjustments you need to make, then it can make your timeline messy, and then a bit more difficult to come in and edit the track afterwards. So that's one way of doing it. Now, the benefit of doing that, if let's say you've set a pitch, so if you've disabled preserved pitch when time stretching, so now we've got our track at 140, but this is 120-ish. This will now be sped up. Now, the benefit of doing this and chopping and changing it on the timeline is your track is going to stay at a consistent pitch. Now, if we come into here and we're going to now correct some of this beat drifting in here. What I'm going to show you now will affect the pitch of the track, only if you've unticked preserved pitch when stretching, right? So each of these measures here you can adjust, and when we do that, they all move at the same time, right? So sometimes you just want to correct a little bit. So we want to correct this one here, but we know at the end it's in the right time again. So if we check here, it's pretty much on point. So what we can do in here is if we double click on a measure, I'm not sure if measure is the right word, but one of these little markers, it kind of puts an anchor point down. Again, there's a actual name for those, but I forget what they're called. Now we can't move these because we've got that anchor down, but we can put other anchors in. So let's find where our track is a little bit out. So we can double click on this and we can move these other anchor points around to our heart's desire. So we can come in and basically, typically you only have to put like a couple in on a track unless it's really badly out of time. Just put a couple in, that will kind of fix the drift. And that's how you can do it. Now, as I mentioned in the post, other DAWs have this problem as well. I mean, I've not used every DAW, but certainly the ones I have used, they're not great at beat detection. Like Ableton, for example, has transient detection, and it will allow you to kind of warp, and I think it will kind of automatically do it for you, but it will set up warp markers for you. But I don't know. I don't really like it personally. It's never. I mean, I do DJ mixes in Acid, and Ableton is not as good as people say it is when it comes to beat matching. Personally, I prefer Acid. That's why we're here. I just find this process for coming in and beat correcting a track is just a lot quicker and a lot more precise than other DAWs. Anyway, that's that. Hopefully that was of some use to you, and hopefully you can make better mashups than this, especially if you keep one of the tracks unmuted.
Two trailer park girls go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Two trailer park girls go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Guess who's back?
Anyway, that's that. See ya in the next one if you've got any more questions.